Hi everyone, delonewolf here. Welcome to Jita and welcome to EVE Talk, your weekly look at the markets in EVE Online. Now before I get started, don't forget your Christmas presents. They don't automatically go into the redeemable items. You actually have to go to the website, log in and then select every individual gift you get. I think it was from the 12th to the 24th or something like that. One gift for every ULAD there is. Let me maybe quickly see if I can find it in the browser here pretty quickly. Yep, here you go. So just press on this icon here. If you log in, every single ULAD will have a number on him, and if that day of December has passed, you can click on it, redeem it to your account, and only then does it come in your redeemable items in the client itself. So don't forget about this. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13 gifts. So it's going to be from the 11th, maybe even to the 24th, or is to the 12th, from the 12th to the 25th, or something like that. Where you can get some nice gifts, although so far it's not really been anything too special except for one small pet that I think I like because it's pretty unique. Anyways, we are here for the market. As always, let us start with the minerals, or no, what I will do is I will start actually with the Plex, because that one's actually pretty important for a lot of people, especially for newer people that want to Plex their accounts rather than pay whatever it is for the fee, depending on 1 month, 3 months, whatever. Buy order 606 million ISK for the buy orders, sell orders 619 million, and all of these orders, look at that, these are actually very recent and pretty big orders. So 619, it's not going to go higher than that. If you look at all 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 10, 11, so someone went in with a lot of plexes for 619, but there is also a lot of demand here. 25 plexes being bought for 606, so this does indicate pretty much a sideways movement. Plex is always a pretty difficult item to judge. If I look here at the 1 month chart, pretty interesting actually. They momentarily dipped below 600 million. That is actually pretty interesting, between 24th November and the 8th of December. So really last week we had some pretty low points and here it picked back up, but now you can see 20-day moving average and 5-day moving average meeting each other. A lot of demand incoming, but also a lot of supply coming as well. So to me this looks like it's going to be pretty much a sideways movement. I'm going to go quickly for the 1 year chart and have a look here. This is a little bit counterintuitive. If you look at the 20-day moving average, which is probably the most important on a 1 year chart, that it went up quite significantly here, close to, well, 615, something like that, on average. So we're actually looking at decently high plexes for quite a long time since the release of EVE Online Rubicon. Which is not what we've seen last year. Last year it was really moving a lot more sideways with a slow downtrend already, and then really going down towards April. So I wonder when it's going to materialize. I don't think it's a question of if, but of when. This also does mean, in my opinion, that there's actually a good amount of activity in EVE Online, a decent amount of retention as well for EVE Online Rubicon. Because plexes being so high does indicate that there is a lot of demand for it, and in general it means a lot of activity. So that is pretty much what I would say for plexes in a nutshell. Probably going to move sideways in the 606, 619 band for the foreseeable future, and this indicates to me a very high activity in EVE Online in general. Moving on to the minerals, let's have a quick look here at titanium, and we will actually move to the 1 month chart again. You can see here pretty much a sideways movement here as well, but in the last week, in the last 2 weeks, going up just a little bit on the 5-day moving average here. Pretty much a sideways movement though for the 20-day moving average data points at 477. This is of course just 1 cent in between here on the scale of the chart, so that's actually really stable. So I would expect all of this to be decently in balance. Let's have a look here. 472 to 476. Look at that, 2 billion being brought in pretty damn recently. But on the other hand, for the buy orders, you also have a lot of competition here. Are all of these recent? Yeah, all of these pretty much are recent orders. Here also 1 billion at 480. Yeah, so it's more a sideways movement that's just going to continue between 470, 480, something like that. It's really hardly any movement in titanium here, which is also of course a little bit normal just because of how huge this market is. Titanium, the most common mineral in EVE Online. There is just a lot of it out there as well, and a lot of it coming to the market every single day. So let's see if pyrite gives us any other activity. Nobody's also, if you look at a chart here, also 5-day moving average up a little bit in the last week and crossing the 20-day moving average, but this all looks pretty much like it's going to be another sideways movement. Just 5 cents here on the scale, that's not a lot of movement. And look at all of this supply here, that's a decent amount coming in pretty recently, pretty big amounts here. Even some competition coming in just below 1160, and on the demand side you can also see there's some pretty big demand coming in pretty recently, 1151, 1155, 1156. So there is really a lot of competition around the current price point. This does indicate even more sideways movement. Mexalon, more of the same or not? Yep, chart, more of the same. You know, again here a little uptick, but we're talking just 20 cents here. That's hardly anything to write home about. Again, 20-day moving average being pretty stable, and 5-day moving average crossing that again. If you look at the supply demand side, pretty much in balance here. Again, you can see here a lot of recent orders for 4480, 4479, etc. Just 0.1 isking each other, a lot of competition here, but exactly the same on the demand side here. 60 million units, 20 million units very recently. 43.74, 43.76. So yeah, just there's a lot of competition, very close margins. This looks to me like a well-balanced high-sec mineral market that is going to continue to move sideways for the foreseeable future. Isogen, here we go. Again, the same, look at that, 5-day moving average coming to me, 20-day moving average, data point just above that. So I would here suspect exactly the same. Recent, decent amounts here, several million, and here again recent, and recent, some 17 million units here again. A lot of 001 ISK battles that are being fought here on both sides of supply and demand. So yeah, this is going to move sideways again. Let's have a look here then at Noxium. What is that looking like? I would say pretty much the same here. Look at those big orders, just a few cents from each other. 685, 695, that's just 10 ISK difference. So this chart here, yeah, you can see 5-day and 20-day moving average very close to each other, moving very flatly at the 695 price point, and probably going to continue a sideways movement. Next up, Zydrine. Again, we can see the same on the chart, so I would expect here again a lot of here on the supply side I'm seeing a little bit less. Look at that, 88 days, 86 days. Although these are pretty big orders of 5 million units, so then we need to look at the volume. 40 million. So yeah, supply side, look out. Zydrine might just go a little bit lower. On the demand side though, you have to go a little bit further as well to find bigger orders here. 692, and then just a little bit of demand at 695. So while supply doesn't seem to be as active, you know, not that many new orders, the new buy orders for Zydrine are pretty small as well. So it does look like it's actually the sell orders that still dictate most of the price, and there is not that much competition. So it's either going to continue to move sideways, and probably with a very slow downward trend, because there's not that much demand to really do anything about that, and anyone with a decent amount of Zydrine might just slowly start 0.1 isking these bigger orders and slowly dragging down the price. But nothing too spectacular here either. What do we have left? Megasite 1583, 1617, pretty small margin here. That's a bit weird here. Look at that, 72 days, 75 days, 71 days. That's actually pretty recent. Can you do a 72-day order, 73 or something? That's a little bit unusual. Either the demand just isn't there or no fresh demand coming in. That's a pretty small order, pretty weird one. But again, just like with Zydrine, most people just come to the market and buy them right away. So the supply side does have a lot more value in the analysis here, where you can see a lot of competition. All of this is pretty recent in between these two. Here 1 million, a few 100,000 here and there, and all of them just very close prices to one another. So I would expect yeah, sideways movement with a slow down, with a little bit of a downtrend though, and that could be because indeed no fresh demand is coming in here. Thus all the supply coming to the market is slowly competing with itself or with other suppliers, and thus slowly dragging the price down a little bit. It's nothing too spectacular just yet, because there might just be some demand coming in and getting picked up pretty quickly, but overall, yes, a low margin and probably a slow downtrend that is going to continue for Megasite. Let's have a look here at Morphite then. Again, sideways movement, that's pretty obvious, pretty much the same as with the High-Sec Minerals. 5-day moving, crossing 20-day moving average, and again here just around the 7,350. So I would suspect here a recent one here, 7,400. So that's all pretty much in competition here. And on the buy order side, yeah, there's actually a lot of recent ones here as well. So there is definitely support for the current price, although that is 7,100 and this is 7,350. So it will not drop drastically. You know, if prices go down just a little bit on the sell orders, they probably do get picked up very quickly, and there is a decent amount of competition, thus more sideways movement for Morphite as well. Let's have a look at Take One Chips, see if all of this sideways movement means that there is some more stability here as well. If I look at the Drake supply demand, look at that, a lot of demand, very fresh orders here, but equally 26, 23, 25, 12, a lot of supply coming in as well. All of these are recent as well, so I would suspect here again, just need to drink for a second. That's better. Despite what looks like a very downward chart, and the 20-day moving average is holding on pretty well, and what I do suspect to see here is a very small scale here, and so this is just half a million between these points, which is not that much for a 45 million ISK Drake. So this chart is a little bit deceptive just because of the scale, and it is going down a little bit, so it does look like there is still more supply than demand, but I'm seeing a good amount of fresh supply here coming in at 41,200, so this might just stop this descent here, and it will probably start to move sideways a little bit next. Have a look at the Maelstrom here, also a slight downward trend here. That's actually been going on for the entire month, coming from 185 to 166. That's actually pretty decent, so there should be a lot of supply and not that much demand. Still, demand is picking up here, but at 156, which is below the entire chart, so that is definitely the problem. And there is still recent supply coming in here. Look at that, 9 Maelstroms for 170. And a lot of competition here as well, just to try and get rid of your Maelstrom. So this is probably going to continue a little bit, unless all of a sudden we start seeing some bigger orders at higher prices. This is probably going to continue to slowly bring the 20-day moving average down a little bit, probably 170. Yeah, it's probably going to get very close to 170. Here we see a lot of competition, but some reluctance to go lower. So yeah, this chart might just continue to go down. Next up, the Omen. That one knew a pretty recent uptick, flat for the entire month. So this should be in balance. Yeah, some pretty big buy orders here that are a little bit older. but that might be indicating why it's been decently stable, because we do see here 39 supply. That's also a little bit older at 9.3. So more supply at 9.8. And what is the average price? Around 9 million. So that's a little bit strange, because it's a lot closer to the sell order side. Yeah, people are probably still picking them up, but I'm seeing a lot of demand coming in here. Look at that, 30, 17, 100 of them, although that is, yeah, that's pretty old at 8.3 million. No one is going to actually sell those, and this is also decently old at 9.3, so prices are not going to go above that. No, this is going to be more sideways movement for now, I think, at around the 9 million mark. If anyone comes in with a buy order of like 8.9 or 8.8, someone will probably get rid of an omen for that. If someone comes in with a sell order below 9.3, someone will probably pick that up, and so it's going to continue within this margin. The rogue down for the month, but slow uptrend seeming to start. So are we seeing some more demand or some less supply? There is some recent supply, but just 4 of them for 190. So there is not that much competition here on the supply side to be seen. But on the demand side, look at that, a lot of very new ones here. Yeah, so there is definitely more demand for the rock than there is supply at the moment, and those prices are going to go up, or are going up, and might continue to do so, because 179,500 and 180, if there is more competition coming here, this might definitely push up the price of the rocks. Let's have a look at the Talos. That's a sideways movement, so that should be balanced here. Not too recent on the demand side here, but 30 of them for 66 million, something like that. And on the supply side, also not too recent. Yeah, so this is just, there's not so much new demand coming in, not so much new supply coming in. So the market has to do with the older, larger orders, and that leaves the price within that that range for the foreseeable future as well. 17 minutes, I'll just do a few Tech 2 ships that could be interesting. Let's have a look here at the Guardian. I'm seeing more supply than demand here, I think, so that one definitely did dip down. But this is a 10 million jump, which, well, no, it's just a little bit low actually, just 10 million. You would need at least 10% of the price, so 15 million would have been better. Although on the data points you might have had a chance here. It's just a little slow, a little low to say it was trade worthy. Let's have a look if there's anything else. Damnation going down, Claymore also going down, and this is actually coming close here. Look at that data point at 215. So 206 for the buyers, 227 for the sellers. That's very recent, so there is a lot of activity in the Claymore market, it would seem. Pretty low prices. If you can pick some up, I think you're doing a pretty good business here, because demand is still is coming online here a little bit. Look at that, 10 orders, pretty recent. That is pretty significant. This might just bounce off this current downtrend here. So yeah, you really have to analyze this. Let's see if there is any of them with a good spike in the last month or so. This is decent, I think, for the Nighthawk. 235 here, 265 here, that's definitely more than 10%, and now going back down. So this was definitely an opportunity here. And if we look at that, there is still more supply than demand, though. You need to wait for this to dry up, and then you might just go into the Nighthawk again, and that might be decently interesting. But this was a good spike here, large enough to really make some profit. Tech 3, we'll just touch on this, but that's probably still trending down for all of them. Yep, Proteus, Tengu as well, all of them are trending down, so we're still seeing here 120 Tengus being sold. That's just less than 2 hours old, and that is just going to continue to put a damper on Tech 3 prices, and we're probably seeing all of this oversupply. Look at that, 40-40 for Proteuses, Loki 58-66 coming in less than 2 hours ago. They're just way more supply than demand. in the tech trees. The only exception might just be the Legion here. We're seeing this slow down a little bit, so this might just stop, but still 29, 13, still a lot more supply than demand in all of the tech tree ships, unfortunately. Melted nanoribbons 4.3 to 4.5, sideways movement. Is supply demand balanced? Yeah, look at that, 3000 pretty recent, 3000 here pretty recent. Yeah, pretty much a balanced melted nanoribbons market, going to continue to move sideways. Let's have a quick look here. The fuels, don't really need to touch on that, that is going to continue. It's a sideways movement as well. Ooh, except for the Caldari ones going up quite significantly. A lot of demand coming in, or is something else happening here? Well, that's a decent amount of supply. I would suspect that this will actually stop. Either this is manipulation, but looking at the supply, this should actually correct pretty soon. Galente, yeah, you can see that's a sideways movement on a month. And Minmatar slowly trending down. Yeah, because there is a bit more supply, but still the demand seems to be here as well, so this should stop as well. Yeah, fuels are going sideways, I would say. Anything else I need to check? Take 1, take 2, take 3. I'll touch on the Marauders. Have a look here. Sideways Golem, sideways Chronos, again for the Paladin, and again for the Vargur going down a little bit. So I would not suspect any really big gaps between supply and demand on any of them here. 12 supply here for the Paladin. That's a little bit higher, so this could go down just a touch, but that's still within a narrow price range that seems to be respected by the chart. 1.05 billion. Chronos, yeah, again small orders of 1 here, one that is making sure that the price doesn't spike up too much, with 8 Chronos being sold, but also a lot of recent supply picking them up whenever they can below 1 billion. And on the Golem, pretty much balanced. Is that one going up a little bit? Yeah, that one is going up a little bit. No big order to keep the prices from rising, so the Golem might go up if demand picks up. It's also the highest one of all of the Marauders at the moment. You might keep half an eye on the Golem, I would say. And I think that's the stuff we've had so far. I will also take another look here at the Stratios. 410 slowly going down. Is there more supply coming in? Well, unfortunately, yeah, well, actually, yeah, 401, 402. Is all of this recent then? Yes, actually, still recent. So there is actually some supply competition coming into the Stratios. That's interesting. Yeah, that is actually very interesting. Stratios does seem to be going down finally. If it breaks 400 million on the supply side, look out below. That could actually be a psychological barrier. If people are willing to get rid of their Stratios below 400 million, all of a sudden that could open up the floodgates. The one thing, of course, to remember is that if the Nestor comes out in patch 1.1, supply will probably dry up for this. So if you want a Stratios, I would say start looking at what's happening in the market right now, because it might break 400. You might actually pick up a Stratios below 400. This might happen, but at some point I do expect this opportunity to stop once patch 1.1 will have been announced. So that's it for the Stratios. Anything else? We are at 24 minutes that I might want to quickly check out. That could be interesting. Is there anything on the I was thinking of some PI stuff, so let's see if I know one. Coolants, yep, and then I'll find a category, manufacturing and research for coolants, manufacturing and research. Okay, where is the PI stuff? Just the materials then, I suspect. Planetary materials, here we go. Not necessarily the raw ones, the refined ones that could be good. Let's have a quick, because I've not touched on this in quite a while. So let's have a quick look here. Sideways over the month, and that looks pretty balanced, unfortunately. Let's have a look here at fertilizers. That's not a lot of supply compared to the demand side. What's that looking like? still sideways, so it's probably not used that much. Let's see if we can find something a little bit more that's post-fuel related, also sideways. I'm not really seeing anything too drastic here, honestly. Sideways, slightly down for broadcast nodes, sideways again. So this is a little bit surprising. I would have expected that we might start to see some movement because of the changes to the POCOs, but that does not seem to have happened. Most of this is sideways to slightly down, which is not exactly what I would have expected. Let's have a look here at robotics as well. Robotics down, that's unusual, you know. You'd need some lava or plasma planets to make those. That's decently easily blockadable, and yet look at that supply, no problem. Going down for the entire month from 70 to 60k. That's a decently down market. I would have expected some blockade, some more upwards movement in the PI market, but that totally has not materialized. Sideways to down on some of them. Interesting that that the POCO changes did not yield such a drastic effect. A lot of people were very afraid of that, of complete dominance by 0-0 alliances, and then ridiculous tax prices making PI goods almost unpayable for players with just a very small corpse and then a boss. You know, they were a bit afraid of what would happen to stuff like boss fuels, but none of that has materialized. Pretty stable market, even a lot of supply still being able to come in despite the POCO changes. So yeah, that was the extra one for this week. I'll end up again with a look at the plexes here. 609, 617, expect more sideways movement, which is a bit against the grain from what I've seen in the previous years. So I'm really waiting when they will start their downtrend, but apparently not just yet. Anyways, that's it for this Eve Talk, guys. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you all next time.